What is up, everybody? An awesome Thursday night football game has just completed. Snow galore. I got my big puffy coat on to kind of match the theme that was tonight's awesome game up there in Cleveland, Ohio. Grew up in Florida, and so watching snow games just didn't quite make a ton of sense to me. My dad loved them. He was born and raised in Connecticut. But recently, 6 years recently, moved up north. Been dealing with the elements, working out in the cold. I understand the snowstorm better than anybody at this point. And watching them on TV, it adds a whole nother feel and dimension to the games, and it's so enjoyable. I was in my happy place tonight watching the Browns and the Steelers fight like dogs. No pun intended tonight. And I'll tell you what, if I had to pick a Thursday night game every week, it would be an AFC North matchup. These games, doesn't matter the record, doesn't matter the time of the year, doesn't matter the weather or the predictions, nothing. They are always competitive, and it always reminds you of old school, what we grew up on: football, smash mouth, take, no prisoners. Fuck, that was entertaining. Browns pull off a massive victory. Maybe not for their season, but just for their fans, for the future of their brand, for the players in that locker room and the coaches on that staff. I mean, what a morale boost. You know, I think with everything going on with the Browns this season, obviously after this win, they moved to 3-8. You forget that they were a playoff team last year. And Deshaun Watson, that situation is just, I mean, it's one of the worst situations we've ever seen in the NFL. But with his poor quarterback play, we forget that. Damn, this team is pretty freaking good. And Kevin Stefanski, a two-time Coach of the Year winner. I mean, if you just got some semblance of quarterback play, you beat teams like the Steelers. They beat the Ravens a couple weeks ago. They're capable of being competitive team, and you wonder if they would have just stuck with Jameis for the whole season with that 7th seed in the AFC being up for grabs at the wild card spot, would this team be vying for it right now? Because it kind of feels like it. And that's what they did last year with Joe freaking Flacco. So they've got to figure out the Deshaun Watson situation. And at this point, do you just eat the $60 million and move on? Because you got Myles Garrett. You've got Denzel Ward. I mean, Jerry Jeudy started the show out tonight. Nick Chubb, yes, he's a free agent, but still looks like he's got tread on the tires. You have a pretty good offensive line that's banged up this year, so you think they'll be healthy next year. And you got Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Berry has shown that he's a really good GM. There's a lot to like here. And you get a player kind of like Cam Ward, where it seems like guys rally around him. And we talked about Cam Ward to the Jets yesterday, but I didn't even think about the Browns. Kind of feels like a better fit there. I want to see Jameis Winston have a long leash for the rest of this season because he's one of the most fun players to watch in the league. I went to his first career game down in Tampa, obviously following FSU as a youngin'. He led them to a national championship and was, one of the better Seminoles of all time. Obviously had to go to his first ever NFL game against Marcus Mariota, the second pick of that draft. He did end up throwing 4 interceptions in that game. First one was a pick 6, which was kind of symbolic of his career because, as we know, he can play quarterback. But he can also, be one of the worst ones at the same time as being one of the better ones. 5,000 yards one season, 33 touchdowns, 30 picks. What a hilarious stat lines. We talk about seasons that we'll never see again. Will we ever see a 2,000-yard receiver? Probably, but we haven't yet. Will anybody ever break the rushing record by Landon Dickerson? That's the Eagles' offensive lineman, Eric Dickerson. Will we see 12 interceptions a year like we did with Night Train Lane back in the olden days? Well, will we ever see a 5,000-yard season at quarterback with 30-plus touchdowns and 30 interceptions ever again? Probably not. So Jameis is in the record books in a way, and just see him go out there tonight. He plays with so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and you can see this night meant a lot to the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, with the drama going on with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett before, saying it's nothing new to me, getting snubbed on the Defensive Player of the Year, which I think he's already won it twice. Well, Myles Garrett gets his first one. Myles Garrett is a dominant football player, and he showed it tonight. You could tell in his post-game conference that this game meant something extra, and he showed it, man. 5 tackles, 3 sacks, a huge forced fumble where Cleveland recovered. And this guy was causing havoc all night. And for the most part, TJ Watt was quiet. So you know that these guys went in with it like, let's show up for our captain. And Jameis Winston, you know, people are talking about it. He goes in, first in, last out, puts in the hours, incredibly dedicated. You can't question his work ethic. You can laugh at his antics and, you know, kind of make fun of him for his goofiness. But there's no doubt in anybody's mind that this guy loves football more than anybody. And he played like it tonight. He can get the win in that amazing snowy atmosphere. What an enjoyable game. Man, it was so fun to watch. And I like the Steelers. And it's just, how could you not root for the Browns as that game went on? Unless you're a Steelers fan. I feel like even Ravens and Bengals fans were like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see the Browns win this game. Because you just feel for their fans. Every single seat in that stadium was filled. And they were just happy to be there. And that's a whole nother level of commitment. You know, I'm a Patriots fan. I don't miss a snap. I haven't my whole life. But I swear, the second things start to go wrong, we are just shitting on them. I tend to be a little more positive. I'm from Florida. We got a little bit of a different mentality than Northeasters. But those Cleveland Browns, man, they are dedicated to their football team. And a great win tonight against your rival in the Steelers, which, you know, hats off to the Browns. You know, I think that they're closer than we might think if they get some solid quarterback play. So excited to see the rest of the season. Gonna be paying closer attention. Jerry Jeudy starting to show out. Myles Garrett, can he go back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year? He entered the chat for sure tonight. And then just, you know, what's the development with this team? What's the morale like? How's the leadership? You feel like, you know, after this rocky year, can they just jump back on the fucking train tracks next year and plow through some of this AFC that is maybe not as strong as we thought? Although in the future, it looks like it's going to be pretty tough. But if they play like they did tonight with a backup quarterback, beating the Steelers, who are 8-2, you got to feel like, all right, maybe the ceiling's way higher than we thought. So great job by the Browns. And for the Steelers, this is my thought process. You know, I saw a tweet that said, tonight is one of those games where you just lose respect for the Steelers, and this one's on Mike Tomlin. And I got to say, I completely disagree with it. Everything that I just listed off. AFC North matchup, already always tough. Thursday night, teams get up for those games, any primetime game, extra. Snowy atmosphere. Okay, that makes it a little bit crazier. In Cleveland, you're on the road. Yeah, even tougher. You're 8-2. This team's 2-8. They have nothing to lose. And then you add in some off-the-field drama with your 2 best players. This game was going to be a tough one to win. And really, you were in it for most of the game and a couple plays at the end of the game, which felt like, you know, the final 30 seconds of an NBA game, those final 2 minutes where it was just stoppage after stoppage. This wasn't like the Steelers came in and laid an egg and got bullied by the Browns. Like, no, it was a close game. Came down to the final seconds. And I got to say, that Hail Mary, which Russell Wilson, I don't know if we talk about toughness with Russell. Man, he showed some toughness tonight. His first loss as a Steelers quarterback, but I wouldn't put it all on him. He played his fucking ass off. But that Hail Mary, I mean, you can't throw him any better, one. But you got Mike Williams down there looking like he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And he probably couldn't see the ball and was maybe waiting for the deflection, which there is one player on the team that always does that. So maybe he was the guy. But your best receiver, your best weapon, George Pickens, who's been known to fly off the handle, is in the back of the end zone fighting Greg Newsome on the final play of the game, where this guy has made some of the most acrobatic catches I've ever seen in my life over the past 2 years. And he's almost out of bounds as the ball's coming down, pissed off because the cornerback's been jamming him all game. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Like, get your shit together. You're playing on the biggest stage in the world, making millions of dollars. You got fan bases that depend on you. You got other teammates and coaches that depend on you. And you're worried about a fucking little grudge match with a cornerback on the last play when you have a chance to win it? Walk-off style? Just rubs me the wrong way. And then you're getting into it after the game, still going at it. It's like, bro, get your shit together. Like, what the fuck, man? And I'm not acting like I was perfect at 22. I definitely was not. But you got to get your priorities straight, man. Keep your head on your shoulders facing forward. This motherfucker's like an owl, dude. Can't figure out which way straight, up, down, left, right. Motherfucker's morale compass is crooked. Magnet's broken. So, moral compass, by the way. Excuse my illiteracy. Anyways, I don't put this on Tomlin. I mean, you could nitpick and say, some things he did. This was just one of those weird games, and you're still 8-3. He's done a great job up to this point. You still like the Steelers. The one thing you got to work on if you're Steelers offense is this is your 11th game, and it's the 6th one you've had where you didn't score a touchdown in the first half. And I think you've had 2 games where you didn't score a touchdown at all, and you won those games. But you can't have that. That's not going to work in the playoffs. You're not going to beat the Chiefs. You're not going to beat the Bills. You're probably not going to beat the Ravens again. And probably not the Chargers either when you don't score a touchdown in the first half. So this was the game you felt like the Steelers needed, especially with that gauntlet of a schedule coming up these final 7 weeks. Still have confidence in them. They're going to make the playoffs. They're too good of a team and too well coached of a team to miss them. But you got to clean up the act with George Pickens. You got to kind of get that offense firing on all cylinders. And you have time to kind of pick up some of the pieces. Maybe utilize Justin Fields a little bit more. Definitely seemed like some miscommunication on those Justin Fields plays. And like I said, you don't want to look too much into this game due to the elements, due to the situation, due to it being a prime time. It's like, all right, you know what? We lost. Let's move on. We're 8-3. We feel good. We just beat the Ravens last week. You know, it's not like we've been dropping games to our division opponents. Like, ironically, the 3 teams they've lost to are the Colts, the Cowboys, and now the Browns, which combined probably have equal or less wins than the Steelers do total. So, just kind of crumple this one up, throw it in the bin, clean some shit up. But, you know, what can you say? Just a Thursday night classic. This is going to be on one of those NFL throwback YouTube channels in a couple years where they replay, you know, the cool games that happened. And it's going to be a Monday night primetime game between the Browns and the Steelers. And they're going to pop up Snowy Mayhem in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's going to be 11-21-24 Browns Steelers. And you're like, oh shit, I remember that game. I made loaded nachos and stuffed my face and enjoyed the shit out of my night. That was tonight. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. If you're listening to this on Friday, if you're listening to this on any other day, enjoy the rest of that day. And stay safe out there. Enjoy college football this week in Indiana, Ohio State, Colorado, Kansas, Alabama, Oklahoma. A couple fun games to watch. So, stay safe out there, guys. Enjoy football. Peace out.